You could spend the money on putting a fancy air filter on there, a great air cleaner, but it only can do as much as the ductwork can handle.
I've got the call twice just in the last week. I have a lot of dust in my home. Welcome to Inside Your Home with Shanklin Heating and Air Conditioning and Electric, where we talk about and help you out with the systems that operate in your home and give you some answers to maybe those questions that you have. Welcome, everyone. Today, we've got Matt with us here today. Super excited. Thanks, Matt, for helping me out. We're both going to talk about indoor air quality today. I know that's a big buzzword going around, maybe the industry. So we're going to talk about indoor air quality. I appreciate you being here and helping us out.
Yeah, good to be here. Honestly, with indoor air quality, there's a lot of questions and mysteries around a lot of things. A lot of homeowners don't realize that they're having problems, but they're there.
I think for years as technicians, as you and I have both, serviced, installed things throughout our careers, we think of, it's too hot or it's too cold in these areas, and not so much, and now indoor air quality is about what is in the air and what can we do about it. And it's coming out of COVID and everything, and it's a big buzz of how do we can clean it up. So we just like to take a look at, we've got our systems, but is it dust, dirt, allergies, etc.? We've got all that stuff to deal with.
Yeah, and after coming out of COVID, you ran into more of a situation where they put more of a laser focus on the things that we breathe and do, and we don't realize what all makes up that stuff that we breathe in. You think dust, a little dirt here, a little dirt there, but you don't realize there's pet dander, dead skin cells, bacteria. I mean, that all plays a factor in it, and it's just amazing to think of what all goes in to dust.
Yeah, and I think dust is a bit, bring up dust, and we hear that a lot is, what can I do? I have dust in my house. I have dust in my home. And some of it is, outside dust coming in, and some of it is the dust that's in your house that's going to stay in your house because these homes are built tighter, things of that nature. So we got to really take a look at it. And I think what it starts with is, and we'll get to some of the cleaning we do here in a minute, but we want to take a look at your filtering, the filter setup in your home, and what are we doing about it? Because filters used to be there just to protect the furnace, the HVAC equipment. Yep. So now a filter is like, hey, we're trying to pull this dust out of the air.
Oh, for sure.
So when it comes to filters, the filters in general way back used to be just to protect the furnace. We've got to keep the dirt out of the furnace and blowing around, but now it's like we've got to collect the dust. How can we breathe easier in the home? So just kind of walk us through a little bit about the different filter types and what that looks like in a system.
Yeah. So, there's so many different varieties out there. You've got your standard 1-inch pleated filters. You have high efficiency 1-inch filters. You have media air cleaners. Back in the day, they used
and
to
those
have
1-inch filters seems to be, you go through like the home store or something like that, or even the filters that we supply, most of the shelf space in there is just, your 1-inch filters, and they're all over the place.
Yeah, and that was an industry standard for the longest time.
Yeah.
A lot of us in the trades, we called them rock catchers because that's about all they were good for, is just slowing down the big chunks of dust.
Yeah. And now I'm seeing a lot of our crews and what we're putting in, and I know I like to recommend to homeowners, is the 4-inch media filter. It's sometimes it comes in a box, sometimes it's expandable. Yeah. I mean, it just seems to be, if just by looking at it, everything your common sense says, like, that's got to be a better filter.
Oh yeah, and you look at the way there's a lot more that just goes into an air cleaner versus just a 1-inch standard filter.
Yeah.
Not only do you got to make sure it's installed properly, but you also have to make sure you have the proper airflow to get through it. One of the things you run into is with these 1-inch filters is they restrict your airflow. You don't realize that they're actually suffocating the furnace versus actually helping your system.
Yeah.
It does more damage than good.
Some of those 1-inch filters, they actually have, we were looking at this earlier, they actually have some of the same, by numbers, it could have the same filtering characteristics as maybe the 4-inch or the media filters, but they just can't handle the airflow capacity. And they're going to do just like what you said, restrict it. We see it on the service calls. It's hot out right now. We see it even when, it's cold in the wintertime. We can't get the airflow through it. So we're taking a look at those media filters. They can handle the air. They can handle the dust, dirt, allergens, things like that coming up against them. They're able to handle that capacity. And I think that's really crucial as we're talking about indoor air quality, because that filter is everything to the furnace. The one thing I'd like to ask you about is, from it comes down to the installation, it's not just something that we can just go buy a media filter. We've got to have this installed properly. We got to have the ductwork to accommodate it, things like that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Yeah, they're a bigger filter, but they also require a little more space, and they need a little bit more larger ductwork to help deliver the air properly to the furnace. When you install something like that, we like to look at not just your furnace, but also what your ductwork is capable of, to make sure you could spend the money on putting a fancy air filter on there, a great air cleaner, but it only can do as much as the ductwork can handle.
Yeah.
So just looking at the whole thing is a big,
and that's
big must.
one thing that we get the luxury of doing when we install a new furnace, because we got everything taken apart.
Yeah.
We're taking a look at that whole air distribution system, but if you're looking to have that put onto an existing system, you're going to have to accommodate the whole return air setup and make sure you're allowing that system to breathe. And Matt, you're talking about ductwork. So we're on indoor air quality. We talked about air filters. Yeah. Air filters are huge. But let's talk about, so the air filter is going to be catching the dust, catching the dirt, the pollen, things of that nature that gets to it. But in order for any dirt at all, or dust, we say, back to that original question, because I have dust in my house. In order for that dust to ever even reach the filter, it's got to go through your return air or your duct system. Yep. So we're going to talk about duct cleaning. Duct cleaning gets thrown around a lot. The term gets thrown around a lot, even more so than indoor air quality. But duct cleaning is, I've seen different types of equipment out there. I've seen different rigs, different companies do it. But walk us through a little bit about the system that you've developed in your area, and just maybe like what it looks like when we do a duct cleaning, a quick snapshot of that.
What it looks like is, we have a very advanced pieces of equipment. It's not just a guy with a shop vac and a broom making things happen.
As it was that for a while. It was just a glorified shop vac going down the register vents.
Oh, yeah, for
pounding
sure.
some stuff around. And
you just knock things loose and hope you get everything.
Yeah.
With our new equipment, it's based on not just cleaning each individual heat run, but it's also cleaning the main trunk line and getting every scrap and bit of dust we can out of there.
So you're talking about from the floor registers or wall or even ceiling registers, which would be those supply runs or those individual return runs, walking that dirt back all the way through. Another thing that I've seen you guys do, and I've been on the jobs as well, is when we have, we're drawing a large negative pressure. So we're hooking a monster vacuum, if you will, which is outside. We're not bringing this rig in the basement. So we've got a large 20 horsepower vacuum that I've seen you guys do in the basement. We're drawing a large negative pressure on the ductwork, because that's another thing we get sometimes. It's going to make a mess. Dust is going to be blowing out of the vents because we're blowing the dust out, but we're actually doing the opposite of that.
Correct.
Drawing that negative pressure. So like you talked about, agitating that dust, drawing into the negative pressure. You're doing it from each register location.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll set up the red machine, which we affectionately call the red machine.
Yeah.
It pulls about roughly 8,000 CFM negative pressures. It sucks all that, puts that negative pressure through the ductwork. Then when we'll go around with high pressure, remove the registers and use specific tools, agitators and such, that help break that dust up and force it back down into the main trunk line. So nothing comes back out into your home. You don't have to deal with dust coming out your registers or anything like that. It all gets pulled negatively back towards the red machine. So there's hoses that go from the ductwork all the way outside, and the dust is collected in bags outside. So that stuff doesn't get a chance to just go everywhere.
Yeah.
It gets pulled back into the machine.
So any dust, dirt, debris, or any of that. And also one of your other processes that I've seen you guys do is you think like, oh, we're drawing this negative pressure on the ductwork. down towards the furnace, but we're actually isolating the furnace. So we're actually protecting the furnace or air handler or whatever type of air distribution that we have to where we're not allowing that dirt to fall into the unit. Because I see that happen. I've been on service calls. We go there, no cooling. I just had a duct cleaning done by whoever, and now my air conditioner doesn't work, or even I have drain issues now because all that dirt just settled right into the furnace. So we've got to be careful with that. Just like sweeping the floor or something. If you don't sweep it all to one specific area and clean it up properly, you still got all the dirt there, right?
Just move it around.
Yeah, we're just moving around. So it does pull the stuff out, and that machine being outside is fantastic. Is in my mind is like, okay, where's it going? Is the shop, is the where's the filter at? Where's the thing? But pulling everything outside, walking it down from, when I say walking it down, getting the dirt from each register location down to the main trunk line, and then that's pulling it outside. So, I mean, so something like that. So that large machine's outside. We got what you said, about an 8 or a 10-inch hose going to the basement.
Yeah.
That's got to go through either a basement window or a doorway or some sort to get into your basement, or to a crawl space or attic, wherever the unit's at. And so something like that. Obviously, the unit's got to be shut off. Like, how long? Let's just say, hey, man, I've got a ranch home, 3-bedroom, your typical home. Like, how long do you think that take a crew to do?
It could take approximately 3 hours for smaller homes, up to 6 hours for larger homes. It all depends on the ductwork and the process of which we need to do to get that out.
So we're being thorough, going through every register location, removing registers where necessary. And also, I've seen what we've been able to do is, let's say we can't get a register off. Some of the old houses, cast iron style, wall mounted.
Yep.
We're actually, I saw some of the air whips that you have. You're actually able to get down around some of those, through the louvers and some of those registers.
Yeah, we have some really good agitation tools and some techniques that we use to sneak in there, and some hard to reach places. I mean, there's corner hutches, things like that people have all these breakable stuff in there. No one wants to move them, which we completely understand. So our techs will find ways to get up in there. Like I said, we have attachments that not only push but also pull that stuff back.
So you could actually do some of this ductwork from the basement, even if you can't get to there. You can actually. So, and I've seen the guys drill holes in the ductwork about an inch hole, something like that. Yeah. And you guys have your sealed rubber plugs that go in there. I've watched that standard operating process that you do. I think that's great. I love the machine outside. It does take, like you said, 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours sometimes. You were saying. Yep. So removing all that out of there, I feel that's the best way, what we've seen in our customers, like the best way to start the indoor air quality process. Let's start with clean ductwork, take a look at our filtering system. Yeah. And then we can start removing all those particulates. Like you said, it's the dust, the dirt, things of that nature. Some of the other things that has been thrown around out there, what can we do is, UV lights, different things like that. It's going to kill some bacteria. Typically, do we recommend doing that probably after a duct cleaning? Get that ductwork as clean as we can. Yep.
So you go through and you take and remove everything you remove. It's like breathing with a stuffed up nose. Once you get that all cleared out, that you can breathe free again, we want to keep that from building back up again. So one of the things we can definitely look at is a UV light. Some models have carbon filters that help with that, help with smells. Not only do that, but they also keep the coils clean. Allergies and that is a big issue that we're having. And one of the things is mold. You get mold buildup in those dark, damp places. Yeah. And these UV lights really shed a really good beam of light, a UV light actually, that just kills all that off of those coils. And then we don't have to worry about that coming back.
Because it's taking care of it. I like that, to where you get clean ductwork, UV light when applicable, especially in the air conditioning mode, like you said, over the air conditioning coil, even in an attic, especially 140, 150 degree attic. As soon as your unit shuts off, the inside of your ductwork becomes that same temperature. So it's good to have that on there. So definitely look into the UV light, and there's various different types and styles, like you said, carbon filters on them for odors and just things to keep your equipment clean too. And I really like that, when we talk about the equipment, because the equipment is what's moving your air, it's what's heating your air, what's cooling your air. Yeah. So to go back through the process again, I'm just kind of thinking about how I would process indoor air quality. We want to clean the ductwork that we have,
Yeah.
properly maintain it, take a look at our air filter. If we need to upgrade our air filter, we can do it, go to a 4-inch filter, which would need an installation, which we do all the time. Possibly a UV light to protect any type of mold or dander or things like that inside, especially the coil, those damp coils in the summertime when your air conditioning is running. And then protecting your blower housing, things of that nature. Because you can do all the cleaning you want. If you don't have the right filter in there again, you're going to go back to moving the same things
back
around.
to square one.
One other thing I'd like so we talked about the system, how we can work on it, how we can maintain it. Maybe another piece of this, Matt, is what I'd like to just talk about for just a minute or two is about how tight homes are. And this could mean, we think about, that house is really tight or it's really sealed up. And then you hear the other, I have a really drafty home, So the newer homes, anything built within maybe the last 15 years or so is going to be considered a more sealed up home. Building standards have changed.
Yeah.
So that dust, dirt, things you start to talk about when you pull out doing duct cleaning, we love a nice sealed up home, but what's that also allowed to do? Anything that's inside the home stays in the house, right?
For a long time.
For a long time, because we don't get a lot of air infiltration on homes, especially maybe people that stay in their home for extended periods of time. They don't have a lot of kids coming in and out, so the doors aren't opening and closing quite as much. We don't get a lot of air exchange. Those are things we really like to just keep an eye out for when it's talk about indoor air quality. It's not just hey, clean my ductwork and fix it, right?
Oh, yeah. And you're looking at recirculating stale air over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it can cause a slew of other health issues that people don't really realize. You run into that, and you need that fresh air. Everybody needs fresh air, right?
Yeah.
So your home needs to breathe a little bit. You get rid of the stale air, you bring in the good air, and they have several different machines now that are available. They call them ERVs. They really do a good job of taking your air from outside, cleaning it up, bringing it inside for you to breathe, and taking the sterile air and getting rid of it.
So it's basically exchanging the air without you even have to think about it. You're pulling air from outside, exhausting the old air out. You're literally swapping it out, kind of like they would on maybe a commercial building or something, which they're done.
In older homes, you never really thought about that, because you had draft spots, things like that. So it was never really an issue. And it's starting to rear its head when people are having some health issues and they're finding out that they're actually just breathing stale air in all winter long.
Their homes are super tight.
People get these new homes and they don't really travel much or do anything. They stay at home all winter long because they don't like being outside. Well,
we need to exchange the air out. Yeah, absolutely. And I love it. And I love, we're in the HVAC business, obviously, and electrical. We do, but in the indoor air quality side of the HVAC, it's we always love to talk about the equipment.
Yeah.
So what we've done today is we've gone back through, talked about the dust, the duct cleaning, UV lights where necessary, air filtration, air infiltration. You mentioned about bringing fresh air in. Those are all things that we love to have conversations with to homeowners, to customers, because that's the thing. That's the first call we get. I've got the call twice just in the last week. I have a lot of dust in my home. It really just takes us get our eyes on it, because you don't know if it's a filtering system, an air infiltration system, or they just need a fresh duct cleaning, because we've got to get the dirt out of the air distribution system to where the filter can do its job, the furnace and/or air conditioner can do its job, and really help everybody out.
Oh, for sure.
So it's that holistic approach, if we're allowed to use that for the home, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just getting that thing clean from top to bottom and starting off fresh is really a key thing.
It is. Even if a brand new home, we see it a lot with construction dust, things like that, or a remodel. I remodeled the laundry room in my home, and it was I tried to seal off everything best I could. We still had a lot of construction debris go down in the vents.
You look at these new allotments, right? So you've got all these new homes going up. People are moving into these homes, and they're still building the allotments. What you don't see is all the road dust that comes in on your clothes, your shoes. All that breaks loose, gets in the air, and then gets right into your brand new duct system. And there you are. You're starting over. You think, oh, it's a new home. I shouldn't have to do anything. You know?
There's stuff out there.
Yep.
Yeah. And we love helping out with that. It's good just to stay educated. And I think that's a primary thing. If you're thinking indoor air quality, whether it is a health thing, like you mentioned, or just like, I'm tired of the dirt in here and the dust, let's educate yourself. And we love to be able to do that with people.
Definitely.
So just to recap a little bit about our indoor air quality, some common mistakes that could be out there is we've got a too restrictive of a filter, which you told us about.
Yep.
Duct cleaning can fix everything. Does a great job, but may not fix everything because of those other issues that we talked about. And then making sure your system is maintained. So in system, that HVAC system is maintained. We take a look at that duct work while we're doing it. All of those really go together, and we want to make sure we're not just trying to, like you said, the duct cleaning fixes everything. Duct cleaning is fantastic, but there's other things that go with it.
There's a lot of factors that get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love being in the HVAC business. We're able to do our own indoor air quality stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes it awesome that we don't have to call someone else to do our duct cleaning. It's super fun to be able to, and we polish our system that way too. We see what works and what needs to become better. So it's just great to educate ourselves even a little bit more about it. Hope it helps everyone out. Thanks for listening to Inside Your Home with Shanklin Heating. We'll see you next time right here inside your home. Our family is always here for you at Shanklin Heating and Air Conditioning. Give us a call or visit shanklinheating.com.